Whoa, you need to check this out. The plugin market is blowing up right now. So let me introduce one example to you that's going to boost your data analytics productivity tenfold, and that is Code Interpreter.
Actually, about that, OpenAI have actually changed the name of the tool to Advanced Data Analysis while I was editing this video. So just goes to show you how quickly everything's changing in the AI world. Other than the name, everything's still the same, everything still applies. So enjoy.
OpenAI released the plugin market to its Plus members in July of this year, and the plugin market is now expanding at an amazing rate with a bunch of new tools and functionalities. Let me show you some of them. So we go into ChatGPT, we open GPT-4, we click on the GPT-4 model, and then we click on the plugin section. And I've already downloaded Wolfram, which is an amazing plugin for fact-checking mathematical and logical content. But I can go ahead and click on the plugin store and open up and look at basically something like Google Play Store. It allows you to search through a bunch of plugins. It provides you a summary of the key features of that plugin and allows you to download and play around with it for free. So I suggest you have a go yourselves. You will need a Plus account in order to access this functionality as of time of recording. Here you can find all the plugins you need, and I really suggest that you check it out, as this can help expand the functionality of ChatGPT across a range of areas, except for Code Interpreter, which already comes pre-installed. Code Interpreter has been making a lot of waves in the data analytics community. It's revolutionizing the way that data analysts can conduct their work, and it's really helping with productivity. So we're going to take a look at some basic use cases today with Code Interpreter. There are lots of different ways you can use Code Interpreter, not just with data analytics, but with visualizing and interacting with data in general. But I'm going to limit us to looking at two specific use cases. One is importing a data set into Code Interpreter and asking it to analyze and visualize the data in it, as well as allowing Code Interpreter to provide recommendations on how you should analyze the data. And the second use case will be reading documents into Code Interpreter like a PDF file and asking Code Interpreter to summarize and provide insight into the PDF document and the contents of it. As Code Interpreter is already installed for us, let's move on to the next part of the challenge, which is finding a data set for us to work with. I've decided to pick a Kaggle data set. Kaggle, you may remember from one of our previous videos, is an open source repository with loads of great data sets and data science and data analytics notebooks. The data set I've decided to analyze is called the e-commerce analysis. It's a collection of e-commerce transactions from the UK. So let's go to Kaggle and download the data. I've already loaded up the page with the data set in it. The link for that will be in the description of the video. And I'm going to go ahead and download the data now. Great, we've got the data. Now I'm going to go back to ChatGPT and I'm going to open a new chat. This time I'm going to select GPT-4. You have to be in GPT-4 if you want to use this Code Interpreter plugin. And I can select Code Interpreter from the drop-down menu. The big thing to notice is you've got this plus button. This allows us to upload data, PDF files and CSV files or spreadsheets in general. I've already unzipped the data, so I'm going to upload the CSV file directly and then ask the algorithm to provide some basic analysis on the data. The areas that I'm going to ask it to look at will be data quality. So is there missing data, missing values? Are there incorrectly formatted values? Things like that. Then I'm going to ask it to do some basic descriptive statistics, looking at the mean, mode, distribution, etc. of the data set. And then I'm going to move on after that to ask it some further questions. Let's start with the simple stuff first. You'll see that it takes a little bit of time for it to finish working through the problem, basically running code in the background. And now we have some output. And it's correctly interpreted that this is product sale invoice data, e-commerce data. It's provided a brief description of the columns. And now it's moving on to the data quality and descriptive statistics section. Again, it needs to do a little bit of coding work in the background, but that takes only a few seconds. And now it's looking at the data quality. It's identifying missing values, it's identifying duplicate entries, it's inferring the data type of each column, which is great. The only minor correction I might provide is point number 5. It's representing a date column as a object. Now, for the Python programmers, you'll know that object means string. So it's interpreting a date as a text field. It should probably interpret it and convert it as a date time field, but probably we'll get around to that later. Other than that, it seems to be doing a great job. Yeah, and it's, even though I haven't asked it for its own interpretation, it's highlighting the fact that missing values and duplicate data might impact the reliability of this data set. And now we have the descriptive statistics bit. It's highlighted that quantity has a high standard deviation, widespread in the data. Same goes for unit price. So it started with the numerical features and now it's moving on to the categorical features. It's very high level analytics right now, but this is a good first step. It allows us to dive deeper into each of these areas. The code interpreter's done an amazing job of reading in the data and providing some initial descriptive statistics. That's sort of part one of the data analyst journey out the way. Why don't we look at some visualizations next? I'm going to ask it first to produce a tabular version visualization of the data. Then I'm going to ask it to produce some basic charts and graphs of each of the data types in the problem space. But I'm going to ask Code Interpreter to do the hard work for me, so I don't want to think too much about the problem. Okay, so it's doing two calculations. You can actually expand these calculations and see the code that it's writing underneath, which I haven't done up till now. So you can see it's writing Python code on the fly. And now we're getting some nice visualizations coming out. I think this is written in the Seaborn package. In fact, we can check. Yes, it's Seaborn. And we have some really nice visualizations. This is something that we weren't able to get in previous versions of GPT, so Code Interpreter is really amazing from this perspective as well. So we have two distribution charts for the quantity and the unit price. And then we have the top 10 countries by transaction number and the top 10 products by quantity sold. So this is a nice first attempt at visualizing the data and the important features of the data. And then it goes on to explain what it's done and why it's done it. And you can see the quantity and unit price distribution are heavily skewed. And in fact, it's not providing a lot of insight because there's just so many outliers at extreme values. The tendency of the data is in the middle, which means we're not getting a lot of information in this current version. So what we might ask it to do is to provide some transformation of the original data set, like a log transform. I might just ask it to suggest what it thinks would be a useful transformation, and that will allow us to look deeper into the distributions of quantity and unit price. Maybe chopping out outliers, maybe transforming the data with some sort of transform function. Yeah, in fact, it's already made those recommendations in the text. So I'm going to tell it to try and remove outliers from the histograms and see if we can replot the data and get more meaningful insights. And it's making some good suggestions about what kind of methods you could use to remove outliers. It's suggesting the classic one, which is to use the interquartile range. And it's not even asking me for whether that's the right choice. It's going ahead and making the outlier removal based on that. And we can see the code here. And that's taken 20% of the data out. And now we're replotting. These two visualizations are significantly better. We're able to see a lot more low level about what the distributions are around the central point, which is for quantity, 0, and for unit price, something like 4. Okay, fantastic. So now we've covered the second amazing feature of Code Interpreter, which is its ability to provide visualizations in the browser. Interestingly, one point it forgot to produce is it didn't output the top 20 rows of the data set, even though I asked it specifically to do that. So obviously it's still not perfect, but and still requires some human input, even though it's doing a lot of the work for me. So I'm going to go ahead and ask it to do that again. Also interesting to point out, it's remembered to keep the outlier removal data in place, which means it's mindful of the previous filtering and cleaning techniques that we've already asked it to do. So it's outputted the top 20 rows and that all looks great. I think the final thing I'd like to ask it to do is to output this data somewhere I can use it in the future. So let's ask Code Interpreter to output this to an HTML file or maybe a PDF file. And it's happily doing that, producing HTML data. However, it's not wrapping everything together. I want the entire code block so that I can import the data myself in using Python code, run all of the visualizations that Code Interpreter did, and save the data to an HTML file myself. So I'm just going to ask it to tweak this final output, and then I think we're done. Yeah, I spoke too soon. It looks like it's provided a clickable link where I can download data analytics report. Yeah, it's done it for me. That's fantastic. So I can click on this and here's the HTML file. You know, from a visual perspective, it could be better, but we haven't asked it to do any CSS formatting, so I understand its basic aesthetics, and it's missing the charts. So we have some tweaking to do. And that's because it's downloaded the images in a separate files. And when I open them, I can see them there. So those are the two distribution files. And I guess it would be able to output the other visualizations that we saw at the beginning if we wanted it to. Fantastic. That's a quick view into the role that Code Interpreter can do in helping you become a better data analyst. And the thing that makes Code Interpreter so amazing is how quick and easy it's been for me to do this data analytics work. Previously, if I was doing this using native Python code and no help from Code Interpreter, it would have taken me probably half a day to do this task. Now I can do it in 15 minutes. And in fact, I barely have to do as much thinking as I did before. And you'd be right to think that some of this functionality looks similar to what was in GPT before, but the thing that sets Code Interpreter apart is how much data you can input. Previously, you were limited to inputting a few thousand rows of data, but now I can upload a file with hundreds of thousands of rows of information, and I get all of the analytics output. And the other great addition is the addition of visualizations in the browser, which previously I wasn't able to get. So it's really changed the game. The other area that we'd like to talk about is Code Interpreter's ability to read in PDFs and other Word documents, analyze the text information, and be able to provide summaries of that text information, or indeed any other interpretation that you'd like. This is a really cool area for me because I'm constantly reading the latest papers to come out in machine learning and deep learning, and those papers can take a lot of time to work through. So I'd love to have a tool like Code Interpreter to help me summarize that data. Code Interpreter can work on other amazing areas as well. For example, you can input an image into Code Interpreter, and Code Interpreter will extract the color palette from that image for you. It can create GIFs from data sets and many other things besides. We're going to include some links in the description to some cool things that Code Interpreter can do. Be sure to check it out. So let's go ahead and input a document, and I'll ask it to summarize the abstract from the first page, just to save me the bother of reading it through myself. Surely you can read in PDF files using PyTesseract or PDF file reader. Why don't you have a try? Sometimes it just needs a bit of suggestion. And it's done it. So for some reason, it thought that it wasn't able to read in PDF files, but now it's worked out that it can. It's saying that there's some spacing issues, so it's using something called PDF Plumber to handle spacing more effectively. And that appears to have worked, and now it's summarizing the top 3 concepts from the first page. It's a paper about the evaluation of word embeddings, and it's highlighting what the purpose and structure of the paper is. And there's some good content here, hierarchical typology and an extensive survey. So I think it's done a pretty good job. Now, when you use the PDF reader, you might find that it struggles with some more lengthy documents. It might struggle with certain format types, if, for example, there are lots of images in it. But the key with Code Interpreter, like GPT-4, is that it's a random algorithm. It will produce different results each time. Try and coerce the algorithm and see what results you get. And this is just another good example of how important prompt engineering is. Knowing how to prompt an algorithm that at first might not succeed is a really important skill, and being able to coerce it into trying different methods is also crucial. If you're interested in prompt engineering as a field, let us know in the comments below and we'll try and make a video about it. You should definitely check out Code Interpreter as well as the other plugins in the plugin market. There's an amazing variety of plugins out there. For example, search for flights and rent cars with the Kayak plugin, or sort out your fashion wardrobe by chatting to the Able Style fashion assistant. And honestly, new plugins are coming on the market every day. So data analysts might find Code Interpreter really helpful to use, but the plugin market is applicable to anyone, regardless of your background or interest. Even though, as a data scientist, I found this tool amazing as a time-saving exercise, one potential downside from this tool is that even though it's producing output at a much higher rate than I was previously able to, the quality of the output is high, but I'm not paying attention as closely as I would do if I was writing every line of code myself. And as a result, errors might be more likely to slip through. We know that GPT models produce hallucinations. That means they make stuff up. So it is possible for code interpreter to make mistakes. And because as a data analyst reviewing the work, I'm not as invested as I am when I'm making the work, it's possible that errors might slip through. For those reasons, it's important to have a foundational grasp of data analytics concepts before you use a tool like Code Interpreter, so that you're able to identify and mitigate errors as the algorithm makes them. So if you'd like to start building your foundational knowledge of data analytics, why don't you check out our free online data analytics short course? The link for sign up will be in the description below. If you are enjoying this content and you'd like to see more AI related content, make sure to subscribe to our channel so as not to miss any new releases on AI. Why don't you let us know in the comments what kind of AI tools you're interested in, and we'll try and do a video on those in the future as well. This video is a deep dive into the Code Interpreter plugin, but if you'd like to see a more general view of ChatGPT 4 and how to use it for data analytics, be sure to check out this video. In that video, I try a different technique for inputting data into GPT. I look at some of the pros and cons of using GPT for data analytics, and we highlight some of the hallucinations that it can make on simple data analytics problems. So if you'd like to learn more, check out this video, and I'll see you in there.